It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. What Notre Dame team are we going to get this week, folks? Which one? I don't understand. What Notre Dame team are we going to get this week? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And I think that's a part of the problem you're having with this version of Notre Dame football is you just don't know, and you feel like you would like to have a little more consistency, but you just don't. You don't have it. And that makes it feel a little clunky. It makes it feel a little disjointed. It makes you feel a little uncomfortable when you turn on the TV. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know. You just don't know what you're going to get. And now you're coming back home with similar circumstances to what happened the last time you were at home. There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of overlap in there. There just is. You're coming back home. It's a no-name, a team that doesn't have a lot of fanfare that you should beat by a lot. Now it's going to be really, really hot. It's going to be hot in there. Like, are people just going to be sitting there like all hot and miserable waiting for Notre Dame to do something? Like, I've lived this a million times before in this stadium. What's it going to be like if things start out a little slow this week? You could hear the moans and the groans. Here we go again, says the Notre Dame fan base. I just don't know what we're going to get. I don't know what we're going to get. And it causes you anxiety to the point where you don't even really want to think about it anymore. You're just going to tune in or show up and hope for the best. But that's a symptom of a larger problem. You're in year 3 and you're this inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get. And it just makes me a little uncomfortable. John, I suggest not sitting on the top row for your own safety. It's too bad I'm on the top row. I do it on purpose. And I'm half joking when I say, if I need to, you can flip right off the back. You could flip right off the back. So let's just hope that I don't seize up or have some, aneurysm like I did when they bent Hartman's leg backwards the last time this happened. And I was in the top row watching it all. Tom says, John, please stop with the negativity. They're going to throttle Miami, Ohio. Why? Tom, I get it. Why? Is my negativity not justified? Are my questions not justified? Nobody likes them. I don't like them. But no one can tell me my questions right now and my uncertainty is unjustified. No one can tell me that. No one can tell me that. It's really easy to sit there. I looked at the stats and sit there and look at these teams and go, oh, yeah, Notre Dame's going to win this one. Yeah, you said that about Northern too, and look what happened. You gave those people a victory they could live off of and die off of and live immortal forever at our expense, in our house. I trust nothing. I trust nothing. You got to earn trust. And you lost it last time you played in this building. So yeah, I'm on edge. Yeah, I don't like it. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Go in there and do the same thing you did to Purdue at home against these guys. Because they got a wake-up call against NIU. You had a wake-up call against Marshall, and you Stanford yourself 2 weeks later. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm on edge. None of this stuff's where it needs to be. None of this stuff's where it needs to be. You could have said, oh, they should have learned from Marshall too, but you let Stanford come in there and do the same thing. Same dynamic, bad team, your place, middle of the day, perfect weather, team you're favored by multiple touchdowns over. We've already seen this happen 2 times in a year. Sorry, I'm on edge. You got to prove me wrong. Not the other way around. You got to prove it to me. You can handle these situations. 28.5 point favorite or whatever over this team. They're better than Northern Illinois. I'm sorry. I'm on edge. Prove it to me. I'm sick of this. I'm just sick. Prove it if you're that good. Prove it if you're that good. So, okay, we got a couple phone calls here. We got a couple interesting chats I want to go over. So let's get into this, you guys. I'm a little on edge. This is going to be an interesting social experiment. Interesting social experiment in Notre Dame Stadium. Yeah, Tex ND says, great point, John. Stanford, we've been here before. Dude, I'm sorry. Tom, I appreciate you. And I know where you're coming from. And I know the way you think about all this back in your head. And I owe you a phone call back, off the call-in line too. I do acknowledge that. I appreciate you trying to help me, but the only thing that could help me is Notre Dame football playing good. No offense. I love you guys, but there's nothing you could tell me that makes me feel better about it till I see Notre Dame play consistently high-level football. That's what I need. That's the only thing that's going to make me feel better and bring my blood pressure down is consistent high-level Notre Dame football play. Tom says, John, do you have an extra ticket? I want to sit next to you and make sure you don't flip over the top of the stadium. I'll have Always Irish Senior on one side and Pat on the other. They're just going to watch me flip right off. Let's get this guy out of here. All he does is run his mouth and just let me flip right off. And there I go. Oh, man. And you know what else bothers me too? I've been seeing this all over Twitter and all these chats and everything on people's shows is like, you know what Notre Dame needs? Northern Illinois to keep winning. I've seen that on Twitter a million times. If you're looking at the playoff and everything, Notre Dame really needs Northern Illinois to keep winning. Bro, I can't even read that tweet without having an aneurysm. Like, where are you? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be negative today, but like realistically, where are you as a Notre Dame football program where we need to rely on Northern Illinois to do something to reach our goals? You failed. You have failed if you're in a situation where I'm being told that our fate depends on what Northern Illinois does the rest of the year. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Like, how do you think I'm going to react to that when you're like, well, we just need Northern Illinois to keep winning to boost that. To do what? Boost your strength of schedule? Oh, yeah. There's no way you could spin it that makes me not mad and miserable. There's no way you could spin it. If you just Georgia'd it and played bad, and won by 1 point, it's no problem. People forget about it in 2 months. It's another win. No one's going to bring this up against Georgia or whatever. It's going to be looked at as an early win. That's all you had to do. That's all you do it. I'm sorry, but I can't take this fan base seriously when you're on Twitter saying, what we really need is you need to root for Northern Illinois every week. No. If you're there, if Notre Dame's life depends on that, you already failed. Sorry. There's just no spin that's going to make me feel better about that. There's no spin that's going to make me feel better about that. We got a couple callers lined up here. Let me get through the introduction, a couple notes, and then we'll get into this. Some of the schedules got to change, the rest of this week with me being at the game. And the tailgate and everything we have going on. So let's get into this. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps John as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss anything. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. The call-in lines 312-900-8815. Dial it up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. No, there's not going to be a show Friday morning. I am taking off, hitting the road, getting to South Bend early Friday. And I'll put out a video for Friday morning. So you're still going to have content from me, but it isn't going to be the live show. I want to get on the road and get out there and get to South Bend soon and get situated. It's going to be a busy weekend. I just want to make sure we get there and have time to do everything we want to do and see the people we need to see and do all that. So Notre Dame football brought to you by Sports Illustrated. Go check it out. We have articles up, right, left, sideways, every which way about everything. 13 to 15 pieces a day we put out. It's good work over there. Everybody's working hard. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. As soon as this show ends, I have scheduled to go live a full film breakdown from Jared Clark and Mike Goolsby going over, I think, at least a full half of football there offensively. There's like an hour and a half those guys went breaking down all the film. I see Andrew has a complaint about that. I'll address in a minute. Tom, take the Irish, lay the points, and bet the over. You're welcome. Okay. You have a lot more faith in them than I do. You couldn't do what you did. You couldn't do what you did. And the team needs to move on. And the team did move on to Purdue, and they did a good job of that. And they need to move on and get over those ghosts this week in their own building. And I'm glad the team has moved on and all that. Guess what? I didn't. I don't have to. I'm not playing in anything. It doesn't matter to me. It's not going to matter to me if I'm over it or not over it. I'm not playing, and it's not going to matter what I do. I'm not over it because you can't allow what happened to happen ever. And it happened. Sorry. North Lot for the tailgate party. I will put out a map on Twitter and on the community tab here, and I'll circle those lots. There's like 3 little lots that could be the North Lot. I just follow Adam Dowling in. He's got the big pickup truck. I follow Adam in wherever, and we go from there. Is it whichever one has the most open spaces we go into or whatever? But that North Lot, there's a few different like offshoots of it. It's in the same area. You'll see the big flag. We'll be there early Saturday morning. I'm going to highlight, though, on a map and post a picture of it so everybody has an idea where it is. People seem to find it pretty easy last year, and the flags help. Always Irish Senior. I'll have the beer and the hot dogs at the tailgate with all the Irish, always Irish people. That's the fun part. Then we go into the game. Do you know how many times that's happened? Where you're having a great time in the tailgate with your friends and your family, and then you go to the game and your day's ruined. Do you know how many times that's happened to me in my life in this dynamic where you just have a great morning and you're with your friends, you're drinking beer, you're listening to music, everything's great, and then the game starts and you got to go in and all your fun ends right then. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm on edge. Wine and cheese allowed. You got to separate from the group and eat your wine and cheese and then come back over. What's for breakfast? Miller Lite? Yes. You got a problem with that? Don't judge me. So here's the thing. No live stream Friday, but I am going to put out a video Friday. Then Saturday, obviously, I'm going to be at the game. I'm not going to be able to do the call-in show after. But I'm going to try and fire up the Wi-Fi where I'm staying and record a post-game video to put out Saturday night. So you guys are getting something in the post-game because then I got to drive home Sunday. My whole routine's messed up. My article writing routine, it's all going to be messed up. And so that's, that's what's going on. Sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once and write down something. I mean, you could bring wine and cheese if you want. You can. You can. You're just not going to be able to eat it, right by me. Look at this. The cake is ordered and to be picked up on Friday for the tailgate. Let's go 500 against the MAC. Josh Miller always comes with the cake. It's amazing. I feel like a kid whose birthday it is. He always brings a cake to the tailgate with a creative theme. One of them was me breaking out of Twitter jail, and it had me with a saw breaking out of jail when I was in Twitter jail. I think it was last year. Oh, it's always funny. Yeah, if you're bringing wine, keep it classy. Boxed wine only. Callers, we're coming to you. Mikey Poles, I'm expecting much of the same of what we saw against Purdue. Lots of QB running back design runs and quick 0 to 5 yard low risk passes. Try and get these guys in space. Just got to hope Miami, Ohio doesn't stop the run. Is that Georgia out there playing defense? Oh, no, it isn't. It's Northern Illinois in Miami, Ohio. Look at that brick wall Notre Dame can't run through. Is that Georgia? Oh, no, it's Northern Illinois in Miami, Ohio. It's just disturbing. It's disturbing. The 80s guy. Tell me what you think after someone shuts down the run game and we can't throw and lose another game. Oh, you mean the Louisville game? Because that's what's going to happen if you're one-dimensional against Louisville. Sorry. You may be able to do whatever you're going to do against Miami, Ohio. And I know somebody in the chat's going to write, how dare you talk about Louisville when you have Miami, Ohio, and you haven't proved that you can win those type of games at home. I'm getting ahead of it because I know somebody's going to type that in and say, how dare you have the audacity to talk about Louisville when we have this game coming up and you haven't proved you can win these games yet at home. I'm just saying, whatever you do, if it's good enough to beat Miami, Ohio, if you're one-dimensional on offense against Louisville, you're going to lose that ball game. And you cannot be in year 3 of this in a must-prove-it year and be out of playoff contention with 2 losses by the time you reach your first bye. That is an absolute failure, period. Not good enough. You have real problems. Can't happen. Can't happen, man. Can't happen. So everybody, John's always so easy on Freeman and never holds him accountable, whatever. You cannot be out of playoff contention in year 3 by your first bye with multiple losses, period. Whatever that means for what comes next, I don't know, but it ain't good enough. Sorry. It ain't good enough. Callers, hang in there. We're coming right to you. We're coming right to you. Good morning. Which ND team will we see this week? The NIU team or the Purdue team? You never know what you're going to get from a Freeman coach team. Yeah, that's a problem. It's a problem. Andrew, it's pretty rough that Leonard led 5 TV drives in 1 half against Purdue, and the video Goolsby puts out as a critique of his decision-making. Number 1, that is a video I put out. It is on my YouTube channel. That is a video I put out. So I assume responsibility of what goes out on my channel. And Andrew, there is no agenda. There's no... The biggest question in the program right now is the passing game and why it's not good enough. And when it's not working, what is going wrong? That is the number 1 concern or question the whole fan base has, is having to do with the passing game. So when I have Goolsby on, and then Jared Clark, who was a former Notre Dame quarterback and tight end when he transitioned out of quarterback to tight end, that is something I want their opinion on. When things don't go right in the passing game, what is going wrong? That is the segment I wanted to put out on YouTube because it's the number 1 thing people are interested in. It's not seeing Riley Leonard run around against Purdue. It is when things aren't going right, what does that look like? There is no more bigger agenda than that. In my brain, when I'm putting together YouTube stuff, it's what would most people want to see today? And it isn't Riley Leonard running around on Purdue. It's when things aren't good enough in this big picture concern. Why? That's why we did this segment. There's nothing more to it. There isn't that's what the fan base wants to know more than anything else. It's really that simple. There's no deeper meaning, angling, whatever, trying to show up Riley Leonard. It isn't like that. It is literally, I think, on my YouTube, the idea is to have the most people click on your videos possible. What do I think people are going to want to see? And it isn't you running up the score on Purdue. It's when stuff isn't good enough with the biggest worry on the team right now, what is going wrong? That would be a good time to have 2 former players break down what's going wrong. That's all it is. That's all it is. So there's nothing more to it. Whatever. I'm not trying to show up Riley Leonard or whatever. That's just what I thought people were going to want to see. I just thought that's what people are going to want to see. $2 holler for the V1 rotate. Keep winning so I could keep trolling. Well, I got 1 week of that. As a Notre Dame fan, and it was back to reality. Brendan, $5 holler. If Indy doesn't beat Miami, Ohio as bad as Purdue, I'm worried. As bad as Purdue, you think they're going to beat them by that much? You think you think we're going to beat them by that much? Look at how much had to happen for us to score that many points. Ronald McDonald says, what a dumb business. Yeah, it's almost as dumb as selling borderline not even food to people for exorbitant prices that has no nutrients in it and making billions and billions of dollars off it, Ronald McDonald. That's what I think about when I see that from you, to be honest. That's what I think about. Sharky, so excited to meet Always Irish Nation this weekend. Let's crush Miami, Ohio. 56-0. Let's go. 28.5-point favorites. That's just a lot of confidence for what Notre Dame's done lately. Okay. Whatever, man. Whatever. Oh, man. Yeah, I think there was a lot of things to like in that film about that offense ran against Purdue, and they did change a lot of things. I just think the idea of this segment was to highlight when the passing game breaks down, what does it usually do to? I don't think there's any more thought than that. There's no more thought than that. But it's just, that's the biggest question in the fan base right now. And that's what people want to see, want to learn about. I don't know. Oh boy. All right. We got some callers here. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got. 219, you're on the line. If you're on hold right now, you're going to be on the air. So hang with us. 219, what's going on?
Hey, John, how's it going?
It's going well. Excited to get back to South Bend this weekend. I'm really hoping the boys wake up at home. What do you think?
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more with you there. After the NIU, a little shaky there. Little disappointment. As you can know, we're all Notre Dame fans. You beat Texas A&M. It's very high, and then you kind of lay an egg. And it kind of like kills everything you had going. I strongly believe if you win out, and you got to win pretty convincingly, like you got to pretty much take control of your opponents, you can get a playoff spot. The home field advantage, kiss that goodbye. Yep. I mean, listen, you had it right there. You lost it. Now you still can get in, but you have to win out. I don't believe you're getting in at 10-2.
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I did a show last night. It hasn't come out yet. And I was talking through this. I agree with you. I think in this year, 10-2 Notre Dame's probably out, and the Northern Illinois being one of the losses, it nails you. And then I'm also with you. I think 11-1 Notre Dame's in the playoff, but you have given up that home game in round one, and you are going to go somewhere you don't want to go for that road game in the first game of 4 if you get in the playoff at 11-1. I'm with you. That's kind of how I see it too. Yeah, I think they got to win out, and even if they do, you're having a brutal road game to start. That's what I see.
Right, and if we could think about it this way, say that we have to go on the road and face an SEC team like Ole Miss. Now, just hear me out. You face an SEC team this year in Texas A&M. We get it. Week 1, the next week you kind of laid an egg. So there is something you can build on. This season's not over, even if we have to go on the road and face an SEC team. I do believe once we get in the playoffs, any team can win it. It's almost like now it's a 12-team playoff. It's almost like there's going to be that Cinderella story. I mean, think about college basketball. I mean, there's always that one Cinderella team every year.
Yeah, there is. You know who it is? It's Northern Illinois. It's the Huskies. Can you hear them? You know, they're on the prowl. Oh, the Huskies are in town, baby. Crashing your playoff and crushing Notre Dame's hopes.
Here, think about it that way. This is a real thing. Say Notre Dame beats Northern Illinois this year and hosts a Toledo or a Memphis in the first round, and you had this exact game last week in the playoffs, and you're like, and we're all scratching our heads like, what are we doing? So is it better to get this out of the way now? I mean, listen, I agree with you, John. This is year 3, Marcus Freeman. This isn't year 1. This is Marshall. We should not be in the same mistake, but I do believe Marcus Freeman got the boys pretty much saying, nah, this is it. Like, we can't allow this to happen. Last week against Purdue, we whooped their butts. Everybody played pretty excellent. I get it. Everybody's kind of upset. Leonard didn't throw for 300, 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. And, you know, he's the Heisman guy now. Like, listen, let's be realistic. Leonard, even at Duke, was not a thrower. Can he get better? Absolutely. Should they get better? Absolutely. But don't expect 400 yards passing every single game. That's not Notre Dame's bread and butter. The bread and butter is run it down your throat. And we have so many good running backs.
Yeah.
We could do that. And then you add Leonard's little running game.
And I will say
Notre Dame
this.
could just
I will say
you know
this.
What I mean?
I will say I do feel that the game plan last week on offense catered a little bit more to Riley Leonard's strengths. Like it did look like that something with that whole NIU plan was off, and it just felt, it did feel like things fit a little more comfortably last week with what they were trying to do. And I whatever, man. And here's the other thing too, man. When you have Love and Price, I think those guys need to be used more. I think they need to be used more than they already are. Whatever that snap count is and the share count, whatever, I need those guys, I think, to get another handful or a half dozen touches each, either in little passes or some sort of run game. I don't understand why that's not more heavily emphasized. I don't know if they think they're going to wear those guys out. I don't think that's going to happen. Every time those two touch the ball, it could be a touchdown, and Notre Dame needs that. Give them guys the ball more. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't agree more. I got a couple things for you before I head out of here, but I want to touch on using those guys more. Me personally, I think Love is a lot of like that guy that was at PJ Robinson, dude, from Texas. Now he plays in the NFL. He's a lot like him. You can line him up as a receiver if you want to. That's how good he is. I love how Notre Dame at Purdue, they played both guys. You notice that they had both running backs with Leonard, and then they went with the motion with Love. Yep. That's perfect. We need more of that. Yep. You know what I mean? We need more of that. If we can kind of build with that, I think we'll be fine. Another thing I want to mention, I know you guys are having this nice little tailgate. I actually got to meet you at the spring game this year. So I want to say that was awesome that you guys hosted that. Your mom was lovely, I'll tell you that.
Oh.
She walked around, she saw I didn't have a name tag. She's like, nope, you better get a name tag.
I'm telling you,
it was awesome.
I appreciate that. And we have a good group, man. And there's something for everybody. And I'm lucky. I have a really nice family. Everybody's willing to help. Brother flying in from Florida to help. He does a lot of the camera work, you know, when we do these, and volunteers for that. Mom and dad running their butts off, getting things ready for the tailgate. I'm really lucky. I have a really nice family that wants to be involved. But thank you for the compliment. That means a lot.
Of course. And then one more thing on my way out. I just want to get your opinion on the future of Notre Dame. Okay, let's just be real. I mean, we're here now, but we also got to think about the future as well. I like Marcus Freeman. I mean, I defended this guy a lot, and I don't think he should be in the hot seat. I just don't. Like, you can't make those mistakes like you did at NIU. I'll tell you that. You make another one of those, and then definitely. But I love that he's bringing in these guys, right? And not transfer portal, but bringing them in from high school. I think we need to kind of like capitalize on that a little bit more. And then the transfer portal. I do believe that you need to kind of fill in gaps. But my question with you, is Notre Dame really going to hurt without getting Deuce Knight, or are we okay with CJ Carr? I mean, with that, you know, it's the future, but the future's looking bright. But is really losing, Deuce Knight that big of a deal when you have CJ Carr already kind of in that next man up?
That's a really good question. Here's the way I look at this. The way I look at this is rolls of the dice, spins of the wheel of having a hit at quarterback. That's what I'm looking at this as. Okay. Like, how many rolls of the dice, spins of the roulette wheel do you have to land on a difference maker at quarterback for Notre Dame that puts the whole team on their back and is not just average, pretty good or whatever, but elite, put the team on their back, get us to win games we have not been winning or whatever you want to call it. I wanted a high-level quarterback competition, Deuce Knight's second year of CJ Carr and then Deuce Knight's skill set, and have a high-level, elite-level skill set, different skill sets, but both like really high level. I wanted those guys to battle, and then whoever wins it, and the other guy probably leaves. I just wanted that because I just look at like, I would rather have more good guys competing for that spot than less. So I wanted a high level quarterback competition of different skill sets, and whoever wins it, and the other guy probably leaves. So I was all about numbers. The more chances you have to have one of those guys be the difference maker, the better. And that's what I kind of wanted. And I don't know what's going to happen with Deuce. Yeah. Deuce was going to leave a month and a half ago, and he's still in the class technically. And now I'm hearing Notre Dame's trying to save it. I don't know what to make of it, whatever the latest rumor is.
Yeah, I don't know either, John. I'll tell you this, though. It's kind of sad to see how college football is going. If we all can remember, Alabama did exactly what you said that you wanted Notre Dame to do, competitive quarterback room. So when one guy leaves, you already had a star already in the making. Nowadays, you can't get that because everybody wants to be a star now.
Yeah,
and that's
tough.
just the way college football has kind of groomed.
Yep.
And unfortunately, if the transfer portal wasn't as crazy it was, I do believe Deuce Knight probably does kind of stay, even if he doesn't get the job, just because like the Alabama system, when it's your time, dude, you're already, you're already ready to go out there and win a national championship.
Everything has changed. You're totally right. You're totally right. Everything's changed. And that's a big part of the reason Deuce Knight may not end up in Notre Dame is he might be promised early playing time somewhere else. And it is a realistic change with the modern game. These guys don't want to wait. And if you're going to make them wait and they don't want to wait, they can transfer and go play somewhere else. They don't have to stay there on your bench. Everything's changed. You're right.
I got one more thing that just popped up, John. With that being said, everybody that's saying that Notre Dame doesn't play players, I mean, they can get out of here. They do. They might not give a big chunk of money right away. Now, the senior transfer portal that only, the one stop and go, obviously. But if you're talking about a kid who's maybe a sophomore or even a kid that's coming into Notre Dame from high school, and they're on this plan. Everybody talks about this 4 for 40. You don't think that they're going to invest money in your 4 years at Notre Dame, that when you're done with Notre Dame, you're going to have more money than you would just getting the money up front. And that's smart. I get it. A lot of these kids don't think about it, and it's kind of a shame. But that's why you come to Notre Dame. The players that play for them, Notre Dame, for our mother, you bet your sweet butt. They know, and they're smart. They're going to get a nice fat paycheck once they walk that line and hold up the diploma.
Yeah. Yep. And there's all sorts of statistical studies that show if you go to Notre Dame, like your ROI of your whole life is like tenfold what it is off any SEC school, even of the guys that go to the NFL. It's so rare when you add it all in. You're right on a bunch of those. Hey, man, good call to start off the day. Are you going to be at the game? Come by the tailgate or what?
No, so unfortunately that NIU loss kind of really made me not want to go to a game this year. Now,
completely understandable. Completely understandable. I can't blame you for that. Can't blame you for that.
I usually try to go to one game a year. Last year we went to two. We went to the Tennessee State, and I took my wife to the USC game last year. A little fun story. Almost got in a fight with the USC fans, just to say that. They're pretty nasty. But you know what? We came with the victory after that. It's okay. I might try to catch a game later this year, maybe a Florida State game. Maybe the prices kind of go down since Florida State's not that good with the night game. I don't know.
We'll see
like you mentioned before.
We'll see if they win any games.
It's pricey tickets and parking. It's insane.
Yeah.
And you got to pay all them fees too. I'm like, man.
Yeah, so it does add up. It does add up. Hey, thanks for the kind words and with the family and everything. And we'll be back out there for the blue and gold tailgate again if I don't see you this time. Thanks a lot, buddy. Have a good one. Call again, okay?
Hey, you have a good one, John.
Thank you. Take care, man. That's a nice first time caller. a couple chats and we'll go right back to the calls. If you're on hold, you will be on the air. You will be on the air. We are 9-3 and playing in the Camping World Bowl. Better not be. It's just not acceptable anymore. It wasn't acceptable before. It's definitely not now. I'm sorry, man. I'm on an edge with this stuff. My patience is just gone. And I know people think I'm never going to be hard on Freeman. You got to get this thing rolling. $2 holler from Adam. Never schedule a MAC team again. Yeah, it's NIU was terrible, but maybe it was God's way to see who really has the faith. We should not question his will. What are the last 30 years then, Jeremy? What are the last, if that's what this is, what are the last 30 years of us not winning anything anybody's been proud of? Is 3 decades of not winning anything anybody respects not testing your faith enough? Give me a break. $5 holler from Dale. I'm so excited to meet you and the Always Irish crew. We also have a North Lot parking pass. See you Saturday at the tailgate. Look for the flag, baby. We'll be there. $10 holler. Nate the Lawn Boy. John, I found your show post-game versus Ohio State. And let's just say it was a lot. But I've come to love your show. My kids 11 and 7 love your rants. They can't wait to meet you this weekend. I can't wait to meet you guys as well. And I got to tell you, I've said this before openly. The post-game call-in show after Ohio State was by far the toughest show and the most miserable I have ever been, ever doing this, ever. Nothing even comes close to it. Northern doesn't come close to it, whatever. It isn't just losing to Ohio State. It's the way you lost to Ohio State and what it represented and what that moment could have been for the program and what it could have changed for the program. And we had it in our hands at home in our place, and we willfully gave it away. And then going live 1 minute after the 10-men thing, and everybody was so miserable, and half the people were drinking, and that complicated it. It was very, very rough. So I'm glad that you stuck through that. But that's a rough one to find me on, and I'm excited to see you guys. 574-322. What's going on? Well, I got a bunch of 574s. I had to keep going on the numbers. What's going on?
That's right, Johnny. We're back.
Oh boy, what's going on? Are you gonna come by the tailgate, or what's the deal?
I'm gonna try, Johnny. I'm recovering from surgery, but I might make it.
Oh well, I don't need anybody wheelchaired in there that's like recovering from surgery. Hey. Don't risk your recovery to drink Miller Lite with me. It's not worth it.
Johnny, there's one thing that I have not heard anyone really talk about with this whole situation.
What's that?
Chuck Martin has coached with Denbrock.
Yeah,
He knows Denbrock. He ran Kelly's offense. He's going to be a step ahead. I don't think we get to that 28-point spread.
Dude, me neither. Like I had to pick this. There's like this pick 'em thing that I have to do. And it's like, do you think that the favored team's going to cover the spread or win and not cover the spread, or the other team's going to win straight up? I would bet Notre Dame to win but not cover the spread just because they haven't proven that they could do it in this situation. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of – I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it at home.
And, the other scary thing for me, too, is Greathouse. He's kind of looking like Lorenzo Styles right now.
Do you think there's some frustration building there? Do you think there's some frustration building with like I'm trying to get open and I'm trying to get open and I don't get the ball or I don't get seen, or like you're not the first person that's brought up that it's looked a little like there's a little something going on there. I don't know what to make of it. I'm not trying to create drama. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the other thing too is the way this passing offense looks, it's only going to make our recruiting even worse. Like, if any big-time program puts out tape, hey, look at this Notre Dame offense. It's going to be amazing for you. You aren't going to get the ball. No one's coming to Notre Dame as a wide receiver skill position.
You know what?
No way.
You know what somebody did? Somebody did a little cut-up of Freeman talking to the media of him saying like, we'll throw the ball if we have to throw the ball. And like, we got to stay within our plan. And I'm not asking Riley Leonard to throw the ball. They literally made a cut up of his comments the last couple of weeks of him like saying, we're not going to even try and throw the ball. And then we're like, how are you going to try and recruit? You wonder why Notre Dame doesn't get these skill guys. The coach is saying he doesn't even want to try and throw the ball at all. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, Johnny. It's just a little concerning here. It's just going to be a really bad look. We have another squeaker of a game against a MAC school, and I have a feeling that it's going to be like that, a sleepy afternoon game, not a big opponent, crowd's going to be quiet.
I'm worried of that. Dude, okay, I feel like the crowd's going to be there like waiting for reason to get loud or whatever. Like, I feel like they're going to be there, but they're like kind of going to be on edge because they were burned the last time. And you're waiting for Notre Dame to give you a reason to get engaged and to be excited is what I'm thinking. Also, it's going to be hot. It's going to be like 85, 90 degrees. That place gets quiet sometimes when people are hot and miserable. Like, I'm just saying, I've seen this movie go a bunch of different ways, and I'm just not sure what I'm going to get. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I honestly, I think I tweeted at you yesterday. It's like a box of chocolates. We never know what we're gonna get.
Yeah.
In one of these games.
Yeah, you don't know what you're gonna get. And I am just, I'm hoping Notre Dame has figured this out and they're gonna go in there and play good football and look alive and do all the things I need them to do. But am I like confident in it? No. How can anyone be right now is my question. Other than because you want. Because you want is not an answer to think your team's going to do good because your heart wants them to. I need to be proven you can take these teams seriously at home.
Yeah, and I think honestly right now they need to do Riley Leonard a favor because if he goes to the NFL, he's not going to be a quarterback. You might as well put him at a tight end now. Like, that would be his position. That or a wide receiver. He's not going to be a quarterback the next level. So why even keep wasting your time? Like Angeli, he threw some passes, like some dimes last week that you aren't going to see out of Leonard.
Man, you kind of, don't you want like Riley Leonard's body frame and legs and running ability? And then the way that Angeli could just drop a pass in there so comfortably. Can we just blend them both, please?
Right. We need some tape of some actual downfield passes to help us get some skill position players in here. Like, we're going to be in a really bad spot next year. You figure we're going to be down. We're going to have 5 scholarship players, and then who knows who's going to leave. Like, it's not going to be good.
Oh man, you just gotta. This is just not an ideal place to be. And so I don't know, man. But the way I'm looking at this, tell me if you're seeing it too. You're playing for your playoff lives. You're in week-to-week elimination games. My short-term vision is on that bye. And so you got to prove you're over this home game no-show thing against Miami, Ohio. And then you need to get serious about Louisville. And you're not going to beat Louisville being one-dimensional. I don't believe you're going to be able to do that. And that's my next like little inflection point is, can Notre Dame get to that bye with no more losses? Meaning you wake up at home against this team and then you can do enough on offense to beat this Louisville team. Then you're at least reaching the bye and you could kind of shape out the back end of your schedule. What do you think?
I mean, that's our only hopes there, is just a limp into it. And honestly, I'm scared towards the end of the year. Like, I don't know, USC, I see that being a toss-up right now. And I just picture one more of these dumb losses. I don't know where.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's going to happen.
Well,
I think if that does happen, we're gonna lose.
You can't afford it.
We're just gonna lose the team.
You just can't afford it, man. You had that one in your pocket and you burned it in a game you couldn't lose, and it's unfortunate. The other thing is, I'm really interested to see how USC rides out this first Big Ten schedule. You get them at the end of the year here. If they get a win over Kelly and go and beat Michigan, that's a really good That's a really good start for USC. So there's a lot of football to be played. That game's the last one of the year. That could be a playoff determining situation for one or both teams. Wow, that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what USC does through this Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, one of the last things I want to bring up with you, Johnny, though, have you seen Marcus Freeman's just demeanor now in these press conferences? Like, he is over the Notre Dame media right now. Have you paid any attention to that?
It is. Multiple people have talked to me about the media thing and the Marcus's thing. And my whole thing was, I never watched any of the Kelly press conferences. I don't see any value in any of it. It's not a Notre Dame thing. These coaches don't tell you the truth. Their job is to not tell you the truth. Their PR people tell them what to avoid and not tell you the truth. Other than injuries, who's in or out, I don't see much value to these pressers, not just with Notre Dame, but with any coaches, because their job is to not tell you stuff up there and spin everything. It's not Freeman's comfort zone being in that dynamic, and it shows. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, he definitely has not looked like the same lovable guy. I thought he was ready to rip John Bryce's head off in the latest presser sometime. I think it was the beginning of this week or the end of last week. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, dude,
wild.
He does like coach speak, but it's not even like coach speak that relates to what they're talking about. Like, why can't bro, it makes no sense. I'm sorry. Marcus, I want you to succeed, but it makes no sense. They're like, why can't the punter kick the ball high and far? Well, we need to reevaluate what we're asking him to do. You're only asking him to do one thing. That makes no sense. I'm sorry, man. Like, what does that even mean? We have to reevaluate what we're asking him to do. You're asking him to do one thing, kick the ball high and far, and he's not doing it. I don't understand. So I don't understand why everybody loves Notre Dame pressers. I never have. I couldn't watch any of the Kelly ones because it's a politician gaslighting you 24/7. Freeman tries to tell you the truth. He just doesn't always have the right answers or is good at what he's saying. Kelly was a politician. I couldn't watch. I refused to do it. He was a politician gaslighting you, and I couldn't handle it. But the fan base loves these. They buy into, they get their popcorn, and everything Notre Dame's coach tells them they think is the truth. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a little worried about the rest of this year. I mean, these transfer wide receivers they got in, I mean, obviously on tape, it shows they're getting open. And you got to be thinking they regretted completely coming here. I mean, we heard nonstop about a couple of these guys, how they're going to be dominant, and they get 9 receiving yards a game.
It's tough, man.
If that,
it's
your quarterback's
tough.
Taking all your touchdowns.
But
like,
you don't.
Back's not even.
Who do you blame for that, right? Like, is that an offensive line situation? Is that a Riley Leonard situation? Are these guys getting open enough? Like, there's a lot of things. I'm not acting like I'm blaming it all on one thing. There's just that passing game needs a lot of work. And again, I don't think you're going to beat Louisville if you're one-dimensional. So you better figure it out quick. And you cannot be done with your playoff hopes by the first bye. That means the whole year's a failure and there's no rationalizing around it. That's what that means. It cannot be, my friend. Anything else? Thanks for the call today. Appreciate it.
No, that's all I got for you, Johnny. Just let's go Irish.
Let's go Irish. Have a good one, buddy. We'll talk to you. Thank you for the call. Yeah, what is he writing in his notepad? I saw people nailing Freeman for that when Northern kicked the field goal to go ahead at the end of the game. Freeman wrote in his notepad. Wouldn't you love to know what he wrote? What FFML? Like, what do you write? I don't. Oh, well, we just lost to Northern at home. I better write this down. Like, I'm gonna punch myself in the face, bro. I'm gonna punch myself in the face sometimes with this stuff. It really gets to me. It really gets to me. I found John's show because he was the only other YouTuber that felt the same way I do about BK when I was their coach. 2016 pushed me across the edge, man. It pushed me across the edge, and I just couldn't sit there and watch people carry the water for what was going on. There was way more talent in the program than to have that 2016 outcome, whatever. You just couldn't do it. And so I had to give my opinion out. And look where that brought us to. Joshua Finn. After I got home from South Bend, the only thing my daughter asked was, "Did you meet John?" She's 8. Listen, I mean, I'm humbled that there's so many of these people with kids that want to meet me and whatever. I just worry for the youth of America. Like, I worry for the youth of America. Are we sure it's safe for them all to meet Johnny Boy? I don't want anybody seeing the way I operate and being like, yeah, that's how I want to be. I'm not trying to be a role model here. 773, Tom's up. 573-937-646. You're all coming up. Tom, it looks like you disagree with me and or the last caller or two on a couple items. I'm going to give you the floor to be able to air.
Oh, my God.
I want you to be able to air your grievances. Air your grievances.
Oh, my God. I was getting ready to split my wrist. He just kept going on a litany of things. Well, I can't believe these kids want to go to Notre Dame when they get there. Oh, my God, Notre Dame's the worst place. What the hell is he talking about? First of all, you look who's on the bench, the receivers that we haven't seen yet. K.K. Smith and Cam Williams, the freshman. Now, I'm telling you, there's unbelievable talent there. It's just got to get to the point where they get on the field. I just don't understand where he's coming from. Secondly, Mark Holtzman just said on the thing that Freeman's, he knows salesmen. He said Freeman's a salesman if he ever saw one. I'm going to tell you right now, he's not. He's the furthest thing from a salesman. He couldn't sell a woman in a lumberjack camp on payday. With his puss on him and the way he goes into a shell, absolutely not. I think what you see on the press conferences with Marcus Freeman is his true honesty, like you talked about. Sometimes he's too honest.
Yeah,
he needs more coach speak. He needs to. Hey, you know what? If he answers Fields' questions, hard questions like, "What are you going to do about the punter?" Just say, "Look, you know what? We screwed up. We've got to go back to the drawing board. We're trying to work it out." Okay, fine. Don't come up with some bullshit answer.
Yeah, I think, Tom, I think so too. It is in his nature to tell the truth and be genuine. You can't always do that as a head coach. You're going to get in trouble. There's certain things you must protect and situations you must protect. And he knows that. And then that puts him in a weird spot in these pressers because he wants to be genuine, but you really can't with everything. Then he pulls a coach speak thing out. Like, I feel like he's kind of caught in between in a lot of these, and it's uncomfortable. And I will say this, though. When you lose to Northern Illinois at home, the temperature in that media room, even with our comfortable in-house beat media where everybody knows everybody by first name and face basis, all those guys know all the Notre Dame PR people. They all know each other by first name basis and face-to-face interaction. Even in that dynamic where there's a comfortable, familiar relationship, you do feel a little heat. And you can feel that the temperature's ratcheting up a little bit on some of the tone in these pressers. But when you lose to Northern at home, that should be expected. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is fair.
Yeah. Oh, and I get it. I know where all the negativity is coming from, believe me, because I've been there myself, and I just start, but there was a couple of things that I saw in the press conference yesterday with Denbrock and Al Golden. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think that was the biggest wake-up call, them losing the ball game for the players the way they did against NIU. I don't think you're going to see that again all year.
Yeah.
I think they're on the track. I really do. And with that talent, there's things that he alluded to, and I'm talking about Denbrock, that the wrinkles that he put in against Purdue is just the tip of the iceberg because of getting the ball in the hands of these skill position players. I mean, I want to see some bubble screens to Jay Love so he can get out on the perimeter and go. And the other X factor there is Greathouse and Bo Collins. Those guys, they're going to be fine. And the tight ends, he's going to start throwing the ball to the tight ends more. I mean, we got literally 3 tight ends on the roster that are going to play in the NFL. So we just got to figure it out. Though, if they set up the right game plan, and I know that the last caller brought up the fact that Chuck Martin and he coached. Well, I want to tell you something. I watched that entire Northwestern Miami game on tape last night, and they're not that good this year.
Yeah.
They just don't have, they're not the same team that they were last year. And I'll tell you what, they're not anywhere near as good as Northern.
By the way, Tom, I know you're aware of this too, because of your geographical location. Pretty interesting watching Northwestern play on that lakefront where like you see the lake in the background and they built that right there on that Sheridan turn, like right at the edge of Evanston, right on that beach, the little beach front there. And it's just wild to me. That's right where I used to live. And it's just wild to me to see the lake there. I can't believe they put that stadium right where they did. It's amazing. It's really interesting. I know. Yeah. It's pretty cool though, just to see on TV. It's pretty neat. Okay. So Tom, you're confident that they've learned from Northern Illinois. You're not going to have some sleep fest this week. I don't believe that the way you do. I got to see it first. Like I'm going in there a little skeptical, bro. I'm going in there a little skeptical, Tom.
I get it. No, I get that. Listen, 100%. And most Notre Dame fans and myself, to a certain degree, is in that same mode. Show me so we can move on. I mean, that is a terrible loss to get over. There's no question about it. But the way things are now, I think there's a lot of parity in college football. People are already talking about the polls. Don't worry about the polls. The polls aren't going to mean anything until the last weekend of October, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you see, Tom, there's already people that are like, here's my playoff bracket. Man, we're 3 weeks in. That thing's worthless.
Oh, I can't even.
Tom, every year, our whole lives, you're halfway through the year going, well, here's what it's going to look like at the end of and then a bunch of things changes. Teams lose you don't think are going to lose. Right. Like every single year of all of our existence, that has happened where you're like, here's what it looks like it's going to be. And it never ends up that way. Every year it changes. Like you don't know, but you wasted the game you maybe had in your pocket. Now you got to win week to week, I think.
Well, and I'm pissed off because I have to cheer for Southern Cal this weekend against Michigan.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a pick 'em. Who do I hate worse? But I want them to have the best record they possibly can when Notre Dame goes out there, and I hope Notre Dame only has one loss.
It's uncomfortable.
Case, I'm going to.
It's uncomfortable, but I think you're right, and especially when Notre Dame has a schedule that doesn't look like it's going to be as tough in real life as it did on paper or whatever. It already looked like a weaker Notre Dame schedule, but if Florida State's not going to win a game all year or whatever, like you're going to need a good quality win somewhere. So I guess you want USC to have a good year. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I kind of do, but I can't really look that far because of what's going to happen Saturday, and then we got to get ready for Louisville, and then I'm worried about Georgia Tech going down there. You want to talk about? I don't know if anybody in your audience has ever been down to Atlanta for a Notre Dame Georgia Tech game. They hate Notre Dame down there. That's like going into Michigan State or Ohio State. They are brutal. Thank God it's not in their. Thank God they're playing it in the dome and not in the campus stadium at Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
because they throw whiskey bottles at the Notre Dame fans, and they're nuts. So I'm glad that because and they're playing good ball. So we'll see. But anyway, tomorrow, or I'm sorry, I won't know until Friday if I'm coming down or not. So you are parking in the north lot.
Yep,
right?
North lot. We'll have a couple flags up. If you can make it, fantastic. If you can't, we totally understand. With what you got going on. So do whatever you can do.
So I'll find out.
Okay.
All right, John. Well, listen, everybody, keep the faith. Trust me. I think the Irish are going to smoke them on Saturday.
Oh, I love to hear
really
that.
Do.
I like the confidence from you, Tom. Thanks a lot, buddy. We'll talk to you. Thanks.
All right, guys. Be good.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Oh, Tom, it's good to have him in the mix. Feeling healthy, getting in the mix here. What else? Oh boy. Man, it's just never boring in Notre Dame land. I don't know what to make of it anymore, you guys. Just when you think you know where things stand, Notre Dame has a way of just upheaval, just pure upheaval of everything you think you know or whatever. It's so frustrating. And you think you're used to it. You're never used to it. 573, you're talking to me. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
How's it going, John?
It's going okay. I'm excited to get back to Notre Dame here. It's always good to get back to campus. I want to see my people. I'm excited about it, but I'm a little anxious to see Notre Dame again at home in a similar situation to what it was a couple weeks ago, and I want to see if they can have a different result.
Yep. I think it will be. Ultimately, I'm comparing it to the Tennessee State, because we blew out Tennessee State 56-3 and then played NC State the week after. And obviously Miami's not as good as that NC State team, but I think Notre Dame's going to come out looking good on defense and flat on offense. Everyone's going to crap themselves.
Yep.
And
by the way,
after halftime, they're going to come out and just flame them.
You can feel that.
And I think Notre Dame wins like 56-6 or something like that.
You can feel it in that stadium on a sleepy day game against a lesser opponent, and it's 7-6 at the end of the first quarter, whatever. You feel that energy in the stadium. It's like an energy zap where it all gets sucked out and there's no energy, and you just feel the moans and groans. It's going to be really hot. The best thing Notre Dame could do is get ahead early like you did against Purdue. That'll bring the temperature down of people's anxiety, and then people be excited. It would go a long way if Notre Dame could get off to a good start here.
I hope so. If they show that they can have hot starts two weeks in a row, I'm going to feel a lot better about this team moving forward.
Yep. That would be...
because that consistency just hasn't been there.
Yeah, it would.
I had 2 weeks of it. Sorry.
That's okay. Sloppy Joe says the stadium never has energy for lesser teams. Here's where I disagree a little bit. Generally speaking, yes, it's hard to get a Notre Dame crowd engaged for a non-brand name opponent. Maybe that's our fault for being elitist in that regard. But here's my other response, though. Notre Dame entered the Northern Illinois game as the number 5 team in the country, coming off a great win where they got a ton of national credibility and everything. That fan base wanted to get into that game, even though it was Northern Illinois. You were an undefeated number 5 team in the country. You should be excited for that no matter what.
Yep.
No matter what. If you're undefeated, every game's a big game when you're undefeated and you're Notre Dame, because you move the needle nationally. Whether you win or lose matters. Everybody was ready to be excited. You just didn't deliver, man.
Yep. Can I actually address that punter comment that Freeman made too?
Yeah, please.
Because I think it was valid, because they're asking him to do a rugby style rollout punt with a reverse spin, landing in the back left corner, and they also wanted him to hold it before he rolled out so that the blocking can get established downfield, and then the close blocking starts to fail, so he's rushed and then doesn't have a good punt. And he did that over and over and over again. What all the ND media people have said is that in practice he was killing balls, but that was just him sitting in the pocket and taking the ball and nailing it.
Well, then maybe we need to go back to just
let him do that.
Yeah, go back to just letting him do that. But man, it's frustrating because you're you were told 60 yards in the air, really high hang time, blah, 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 blah. And we just have not seen that yet. I don't know. Maybe that's a small thing to some people, but it's just frustrating to me. We need to reevaluate what we're asking him to do. Catch it, kick it high and far.
I think they were we have a weapon and we're going to be able to bury teams with this punter. And they were trying to let him find his groove, but now they're no, he can just murder balls. Just let him murder balls. We'll be fine. So
yeah.
I hope they switch it up, and I hope it's better this week.
Yeah, me too. And he's got to like settle in a little bit. And so I don't know. And then somebody's commenting that Miami's averaging 11 points per game. They're averaging 11 points per game on offense. Also, I'm not dreaming this. I'm pretty sure they averaged 32 yards rushing in the first couple weeks. So I don't know. Again, though, against Northern, I was going, I don't know how much they're going to score against Notre Dame, enough to beat Notre Dame. Well, they did, just barely.
Right.
I don't know. But again, the stats, what good does it do to look at the stats and say, oh, Notre Dame's going to dominate? It didn't apply against Northern. So I'm a little hesitant to lean on the stat book.
Yep. I just hope Denbrock makes all the difference this year with the offense, because it seemed like there was no real progression of the offense throughout the season. And I think between Riley Leonard being so green in this offense and his high potential ceiling and Denbrock's years of coaching experience, hopefully that it sparks eventually, because it's not hitting yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Find a way to thread the needle.
Like it could be great if Riley Leonard could like time up his throws better, because that's all he's missing. Like he has the strength, he's accurate enough, but on a bunch of his best balls, either he has drops or one of the linemen get plowed into his face.
Yeah, man, you're just waiting for a game where they're able to kind of blend both and put it together, where you're happy with the run game. Riley Leonard does some with the run with his legs. And then there's also just a reasonable passing game, and you get a little rhythm and put together a couple drives through the air. I don't know. That's what people are hoping to find. And again, I'm going to repeat this. I don't think Notre Dame beats Louisville even at home if they're one-dimensional. So you're going to have to figure out a way to move the ball through the air to some extent. You're just going to have to. And you got 2 weeks figured out.
I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think they could. I think this rushing attack is good, because I don't think Louisville is as good as they were last year. I think they've taken a step back this year.
Yeah, I mean,
personally,
hey, I'm with it. That's fine. I'm fine. I want to believe what you're saying, but I'll feel a lot better about it if Notre Dame can run it.
Going by then,
I'll feel a lot better about it if Notre Dame could run it and pass it in that ball game. And the other thing is, it's like, well, at least it's at home, so you're not at their place or whatever. Are we sure home field is an advantage for Notre Dame right now? How could anyone say that? I genuinely, I'm asking, how could you be like, well, I'll feel a lot better at home? Can you? Look at what just happened.
Right. I think it's so hilarious that all offseason people were worried about Texas A&M because they were saying Freeman's a terrible away coach. But his first season, he was better away. Like the team looked better away. His second season, they looked worse away. This year, they look better away. So it's like, I don't think that's a critical factor. I don't think home or away is the issue here. I think he has an issue with maintaining the team's level of preparedness for each team.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I want just get off to a good start at home here, and the home crowd will get into it a little bit.
That'd
then
be
just
nice.
Get off to a good start, man. Have a good first quarter. Get up by a couple scores. Everybody will relax and get engaged. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for the call.
Riley Leonard, 2 long downfield touchdowns for 70 yards just in the first quarter, just to shut everyone up. That would be the best gift. That's what I need right now.
Man, it would be great. Even just
shut everyone up.
Even just dial up one. Can you connect on one deep pass? Have one guy run a post or something, and like, can you just do one like deep? I don't know. It'd be really nice to see. So I'm hoping to see a win in the warm weather here, and then we worry about Louisville. Thanks for the call, my friend.
Yeah, I hope you have a great day.
Oh, thank you. Have a good one. Have a good one. SPF, I think it is giving me a hard time here. What's wrong with the... Jeez, something, the phone system froze or something. I don't know. SPF is in here saying a couple weeks ago, everybody, you were all excited and running your mouths and after A&M and everything, and now look at the tones change or whatever. I am not going to apologize. I mean this sincerely. All off season, we were focused on A&M, year 3, A&M, change the narrative, A&M, SEC, Mike Elko, blah, 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 blah. All of that focus was A&M. Months of buildup. And then Notre Dame wins that game. I am not going to apologize. The Notre Dame fans were excited. I am not going to apologize. And the other thing, SPF, is when you're a Notre Dame person, you don't get a lot of nights to be that happy. So I'm not going to apologize at all that me and my people were happy for one night. Can we have one night to be happy? You telling me we can't even have one night to not be miserable? So I don't apologize at all that we had one good night in my miserable Notre Dame existence. Give me a break. Bruce, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Bruce. Call me back, Bruce. God forbid. He's probably in a work meeting. 937, what's going on?
Hey, John, how's it going?
What's going on?
Buckeye fan.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I just wanted to call you and tell you actually next week I'll be up your way. I'm going up to Chicago for a work trip, but I might take a stop over at Notre Dame in order to light a candle over at the grotto.
There you go, man. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Hop off the road there and jump over there and light up a candle for John's hairline or something.
Yeah, exactly. But I just wanted to call you. I just have to apologize. I think I was bad luck the other week when I called in and I said, yeah, you guys are definitely going to win against NIU. I'm sorry about that. I think mine must have been bad luck. So, but looking at Miami this week, UC was able to take care of them. So I'm thinking that Notre Dame, if they have a similar game plan, they should be able to do the same. I do have some concerns though, just watching and doing, listening to Mike Goldsby. He's been really good on the film, and then also Zach Smith. He's been doing film on Notre Dame too, and I just think Riley's having a really hard time picking up the offense, or he's not seeing the passing game at all, and that's. I mean, as a Notre Dame fan, that would have to be really frustrating. It kind of reminds me of when we had the quarterback in 20. Gosh, what's his name? Gosh, I'm so sorry. We had a quarterback that couldn't really throw the ball at really well, but he was a really good runner, or he was more of a running quarterback. But it just seems like that's how Notre Dame is going to have to win this year if they keep Riley at quarterback.
Yeah, it's just a little frustrating when you get a one and done senior guy on a fat NIL deal to come in here, and then you're that limited. It's very, very frustrating. And I understand he missed spring and he had the injury and everything, and so we were behind. Like, I get it. I get all that. It's just frustrating, man. And Notre Dame's passing game is just not anywhere near where it needs to be.
Did Riley, has he already taken his redshirt year yet?
That's a good question. I don't know that. You know what? I think when he got injured against Northern or whatever, I think people were saying he could redshirt. So I think that's still available. They were like, if he's injured, he could redshirt, not play anymore, and then go play somewhere else.
I'll be honest with you. If that would be a really good move for him, and just from what I'm seeing, if he wants to go to the NFL, I mean, I don't think he'll get picked very high at this point if he progresses away. But if he can get a year under the system and learn it, and maybe you get I don't know, I'm just not sure what that would do to the quarterback behind him. But as far as him as a player, yeah, he really does look like he needs a full year in the system in order to pick it
Yeah,
up.
see, that's just tough because
There's guys wide open. He's just missing.
yeah, it's just not that's just not on the menu. It's just an unfortunate dynamic. So now Notre Dame's backed into a corner, got to win all your games. You gave up that home playoff dream Christmas. I said I wanted Santa flying around the stadium. You gave up all that. So now you're in a week to week. You're week to week here, and you got to just win out.
Yeah, one little quick thing about that. I think that's a great attitude to have because if you do get a home game, it'll be like a Christmas present. Because I really think that there's still, if you guys go undefeated, there's still a real possibility you get that home game, and that would be a pleasant surprise. And this week I'm going to see Ohio State play Marshall. I'm taking my boy. It's one of the few games I can actually afford to go to.
Yeah,
ticket prices these days, but I saw that Tennessee is raising their ticket prices for players, but I thought that was illegal. But I guess they're going to have something going on with that. You'll have to
wasn't that
more.
interesting? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. What is it? I'm pretty sure I saw that tweet. Tennessee's looking at like a 10% price hike on all tickets. But then the extra money goes to the players or something so that's how they're justifying raising the prices is they're like, well, the fans will be open to pay more if the money goes to help us get more good players. That's the idea, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. The only thing is I think it's a little bit funny that their students only pay like $10 a ticket. Heck, when I was a student at Ohio State, it was like $45 a ticket. So we were. And that's like 15 years ago. So
yeah,
we were already way above them. Like $10 is like, penny.
But dude, it's so funny. It's so funny you bring that up. Like I'm used to Notre Dame home game pricing. And when I lived in Evanston, I used to get season tickets for Northwestern for like $28 and it would give me a seat for the whole year or something. Like it's just a whole different world now. And the way everything's priced, it's just a different world. I don't know.
I know people that would get season tickets at like Indiana or at like a Purdue, and they would just get them so that they could go to that one Ohio State game and they'd sell the rest.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it would still like less. It was still like less than the main Ohio State game would be, like at their place or whatever for the whole year. So I don't know. Right. I don't know, man. What do you make of Big Ten? What you've seen in the Big Ten so far? Anything surprise you?
Yeah. I think the most surprising thing is Michigan State. They look actually a lot better than what people thought they were going to look this year. And then also Michigan not having a quarterback. Yeah. And but I think most people that follow them closely, like me or you, realized that they weren't going to have a good team, and that's coming.
What do you make of USC early? What do you think? Is still too early? Are you still wait and see, or are you a believer? They look a little better than I thought they would look so far.
Oh, I think they look better than I thought they were going to look. I am a little bit wait to see on, I guess, when they play better competition. I'm a little bit surprised that LSU has kind of struggled so far this year. So that win, in my opinion, is not as good as what it was when they first won. And that's all the first number 1 week, week 1 overhype. I think if you look at that Texas A&M win at this point, I think that was a better win for Notre Dame versus, and I wouldn't have said that at the time, versus USC and LSU. But they have impressed me as far as their defense. Their defense looks legit. But I am still waiting to see on them. It'll be interesting this week to watch them play Michigan, but I just don't think Michigan has a chance because they don't have an offense.
Yeah,
they have literally a half a team. So, and from what I understand, behind their starters at Michigan, they got nothing. So it's once their starters are gassed, it's and I think you saw that when they played Texas. They got gassed within the first quarter.
Tell you, man, Texas looks good, don't they? Texas looked good in that ball game.
Yeah, Texas looked good. Yep, they did look good. I'm interested to see when Texas plays. I think they play Georgia soon or Bama soon. That'll be a very interesting game, I think.
Yeah.
I think in the next 2 weeks they play one of those two teams.
Yeah, it's going to be Mike. I got the all 22 is posting as soon as this show ends. I don't want to overlap, so I scheduled it to post at 11 o'clock a.m. right when this show's done, so I don't overlap with my own show. So that is scheduled to post. I definitely did not forget to post the all 22. I stagger them around my show on purpose, so that will post as soon as we're done here. I definitely did not forget that. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for touching base.
No, I just wanted to call in and just check in with you. I'll let you know what I see next week from the Buckeye side and any Big Ten updates. But good luck, and I think you'll beat Miami of Ohio happily. And good luck at your tailgate.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. Should have a good group there, and I'm excited to see everybody. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good one. Oh boy. Man, people react differently when the Buckeye guy calls. 574, and then Bruce, I'll try and get you again. What's going on?
Hey, John, it's Lime Cheese. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Excited to get back to campus. Excited to see all my people. I'm just have a little Notre Dame anxiety, but I'm prone for that.
There you go. Just got a couple things here. Man, I wanted to ask your permission, because after we blew out Purdue, I was like, I kind of want to go to that Miami, Ohio game. But I am bad luck. There was a caller earlier that said he might have given us bad luck. I am the bad luck.
Ooh.
So I wanted to get your permission before I even remotely look online for tickets, if I'm allowed to go or not.
Hey, I like to think that how they're going to play has little to nothing to do with any of us individually being at the game. Pat also has a bad record with away games. The Purdue game, we won. But recently, a lot of these away games that Pat goes to have not gone Notre Dame's way. And so I would like to think it isn't on any of us individually, but I don't know. But if you want to do this to come hang out with our group, I'm not going to tell you no.
Well, I was definitely planning on coming to hang out. Also, I just wanted to ask a little bit. Are you still planning on the house party Friday, or?
Yeah, it's going to depend on, it's
or?
all going to depend on what time we get into town and how much time we have and all that. So that's still in play, but Saturday for sure.
Okay. I was just kind of curious on that. And then earlier there was a caller that talked about stadium atmosphere for small games and, or I guess lesser teams. I think there's something not entirely true about that, because the fans so badly want to get into it. And I think the stadium atmosphere not last week, but at NIU actually started off great. It was a good atmosphere until they broke off that 80-something yard run.
Well, yeah, because we went down and scored right down the field. Why wouldn't it be and you're number 5 and you're undefeated and you went right down the field and scored and it looked easy. You should be in a good mood then, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're not in a good mood, that, I mean, the Notre Dame fans had every reason in the world to be engaged, even though it was Northern Illinois. You were number 5 in the country and won the biggest game you had to win and everything. Like, the fans should have been in a great mood.
Well, and they were. I wonder how much of our stadium atmosphere issues has to do with the actual football team, because I feel like the fans get up for it every single game. I mean, the worst game, I guess, that I've seen in terms of stadium atmosphere was UNLV. But, I mean, it was already kind of baked into the cake because we had so many losses already. And that stadium was empty.
Yeah, I don't know anymore, man. I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know what to expect. Some of this Notre Dame crowd stuff too is like the energy is just so different for any one of these night game situations where they do a night show and you have the build up and people have all day to drink and hang out and everything. It's just such a different vibe from these afternoon games to the night games and the teams involved. And I get that it's hard to get excited sometimes, but if you can't get excited when you're undefeated and ranked number 5 in the country for anybody coming in there to play, I don't know when you can be excited. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I guess that kind of reminds me, can we talk about the home slate? I remember, what was it, 2022? We had a whole bunch. I feel like we had a whole bunch of night games. We had Stanford. We had Clemson. I want to say there was another one in there, but we only have one home game that's at night this year. And I don't know who's in charge of that, but I would think some of the night games are some of the biggest ticket drivers, even if it's not a great team. I mean, people want to go for the light show. They want to go for fireworks and stuff like that. Why don't they do that more?
I'm wondering, I don't have the answer. I'm wondering if some of it has to do with the new NBC contract with the Big Ten and the way they want some of their Big Ten matchups to be in a main NBC night game slot. I have a feeling that's competing with some of Notre Dame's games that may sometimes be flexed into that night home slot. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just wondering if that has anything to do with it.
That might be so, but I feel like even NBC has to realize that Notre Dame playing even a lesser team at night is going to draw way more viewers than a Minnesota versus Illinois for the sake of a Big Ten night game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And then there's a whole nother, but you can't overdo the night thing, right? And it's got to be the right moment and the right teams or whatever. I almost like Notre Dame making Louisville feel like they're not worthy. They're not even on TV. I actually kind of like it. They're not even on TV. It's the Peacock game, and you're not getting a night game in Notre Dame to have all that energy. You can play us in the afternoon, and you got to have an app to get it. Whatever.
Yeah, I still wish Louisville would have been at 7:30. I know we don't want to build it up and kind of pay them back, but I would also rather embarrass them on national television like they did. Like, because putting it on Peacock, that could also show like, we're scared that we may not win this game and we don't want anyone to see it. So it could be on the flip side.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me. When I first saw that game wasn't even going to be on TV and it wasn't a night game, my thought was, man, they're trying to make Louisville feel like this game just isn't a big deal. And after they blew theirs up into the Super Bowl last year, it felt to me like Notre Dame was going the other way. Somebody asked, how does NBC justify Louisville being the Peacock game? I have no idea. How is Miami, Ohio this week not the Peacock game? I have no idea. I have no idea how you look at this. You're not going to do it for Northern because it was the first home game. You can't put the first Notre Dame home game on the app only. Miami, Ohio is the clear choice, and they didn't do it.
They did that.
So I don't know, man. It just feels like a weird choice to me. Either way, Notre Dame needs to go beat anybody they play at home.
They put Toledo as the Peacock game in 21. That was the home opener. That was the whole reason I went to that game, because it wasn't going to be on TV.
Was that the home opener? That's why I figured they didn't want to do it for Northern Illinois, is because you don't want to do it for your home opener, make people go on the app. So I don't know. It's a little weird, but I am convinced some of this has to do with accommodating the new NBC Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, that's probably it. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work here. Thanks for taking my call. I plan on being there. I might bring wine and cheese just because, and I'll go sit in the corner and eat it.
I like that. You should do that for sure.
Okay. Do you have a preference? You don't really seem like a wine guy, but do you have a preference?
No, I do not. I'm not drinking wine. I'm not a wine drinker. Whatever you want to bring and a block of cheese to chop up. How about that?
Will do. I'll bring it. I'll see you there.
Ooh, that sounds classy. We'll see you there. I'll look for the guy with the wine glasses walking through the parking lot. Take care, buddy. Yeah, we'll see you there. We'll see you there. I'll know it's going to be him for sure. Bruce, what's going on? Let's see if I can get. There you go. What's up, Bruce? Bruce, my phone line works today. You're the one that's having the problem because I've been talking to a bunch of these people. So it ain't from my end. You got something going on your end, buddy, because my phone's working for all these other people. Did he just ask if you have crackers? Yeah. Hey, I told you guys I can eat saltines for a meal. Doesn't bother me. 757. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, John. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. What's on your mind? Thanks for the call.
Hey, how's it going? So just a couple of random thoughts. As far as the season goes, I'm in the mental headspace after the NIU debacle that I'm really on board with the kind of the 5-year training program, or really like, the assessment of the program under Marcus Freeman. I think depends on how the 25 class ends up. But even if, say, the disaster scenario unfolds, that wide receiver recruiting doesn't really work out and Deuce Knight goes to Auburn, that, I think we as fans have to understand, right? Like, him fighting those battles or even like swinging for the fence is already an improvement over where Brian Kelly was. And there's no way, for a given young man or a given recruiting cycle to like definitively show that the guy is awesome or the guy's a disaster at recruiting, right? So I think the trends are still overall up. I wholeheartedly agree that NIU should never be a challenge for Notre Dame. But there is a circumstance in which, any given Saturday a team can work out. And the only other kind of caveat I'll put on, I don't think it's fair for fans to be like, hey, we have to work and get a better downfield passing game, and then simultaneously get super grouchy at the coaches if they let Riley Leonard throw, whatever it's 35 or whatever times. So I'm optimistic for the rest of the season. I'm fine if, I do think the standard needs to be the playoffs. But even if, we go 10-2 or 9-3, the actual kind of like chalk line for whether or not Marcus Freeman's going to work out or not, when we accepted a a young first-time head coach, I just think we all need to be in the mindset that, he gets a longer leash than with a normal guy coming in from, 20 plus years of experience, and then reassess or, calibrate our expectations based on that. Because like the guys who are saying, hey, we got to get rid of Freeman after NIU, I just don't know how that doesn't set the program back, completely reset everything. Because I don't even know who you'd have come in. There's I guess just tamper down the emotions. Expectations to still be sky high. I think the overall trajectory of the program is fine. And then just a little bit of a larger measure of grace towards Marcus Freeman than would be given for someone who has a little bit more experience.
Yeah, man, I can take your I totally get where you're coming from. Here's the comeback. The comeback to that I've heard is when this narrative comes up is, I'm done. I don't care who the coach is and what the circumstance is. I am done having patience because it's been 30 years since we've been good enough. And now you're asking me to have more patience. And how much more patience do you need a fan base to have after 30 years of not winning a major bowl game? That's the comeback to your argument.
And I understand that, but I guess the patience reset-o-meter, I think, resets every time you get a new coach, right? And it's just that the normal leash that you would give, like either, the decision to give Coach Freeman a longer leash really should have happened, in 22, whenever you said he was going to be the guy. And so, I get it. I definitely want the Irish to win too. I was never around I wasn't alive I was born in '88, right? So I wasn't aware last time they were awesome.
Yeah.
But beating yourself over mental anguish for the next, year and a half, 2 years, where we really see where the Marcus Freeman program is going. Not that you shouldn't be as emotionally invested as we all are, obviously, that we're listening to John Kennedy every day, but that I think the true measure, kind of like the arbitrary standards, like if you don't win in your third year, you're not going to be anything. There's not a whole lot of utility in that. And then we should take some measure of solace. And, I do think regardless of what the recruiting rankings necessarily say, the product on the field, particularly from the young guys, clearly indicates that recruiting is going in the right direction.
I will say this.
I think
them getting ahead on Purdue by the amount they did last week and being able to see some of those younger guys fly around and play, that did instill some hope, because there are some younger guys that flashed that are going to be ready for the moment. There was a lot of that in that game. It was good to get up by enough to be able to do that.
Yep, absolutely. That should be the standard. I think the only mortal sin coach could do in the next couple of years is he has to develop a quarterback, because the whole thing I'm saying about the 5-year trajectory of the program and giving him some time to ramp up, it all goes away if you keep on doing 1-year rentals. So we need to see the only, I guess my last remaining kind of flip out mode will be if we don't start one of the guys that we've recruited and developed over the past couple of years next year at quarterback, then I don't know, any kind of saving grace, because otherwise I don't really understand what coach is doing as far as trying to build up the program. Because the last remaining issue is the quarterback position and the ability to show to high school wide receivers that we have an offense that'll mean something to them. So if that happens this year, that's great. If it doesn't, it definitely needs to happen in the next couple of years. Otherwise, it just seems like, I don't know. Unfortunately, and I am not hoping for this at all because I really like Coach Freeman, but the Coach Freeman experiment might be something that we'll have to move on from, because it'll be a real big challenge for us to continue on in the new playoff area and win multiple high state games super one-dimensionally. So I'm just looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I think consistency is the big thing Freeman's trying to find, right? Avoiding these huge highs and lows. There's been a lot of really high highs, but some really low lows. How do you avoid that and try and find some more steady footing as far as what you could expect?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, John, I truly appreciate the show. For those who are thinking about taking a look at Patreon, it's well worth it. And look forward to, Big Irish win this weekend.
Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And again, there it is, a reminder. As soon as this show ends, the all 22 releases with Jared Clark and Mike Goolsby over on Patreon. So that'll be a good release for everybody to get their fix on the footage there. 404, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
John, how the heck are you, man? How's it going?
I'm doing okay. I'm wound a little tight, but when am I not? I'm excited to get to South Bend and see my people, but I have a little Notre Dame anxiety. Go figure.
Oh man, just when you think you're going to get past the A&M hump, because we're all having that ND anxiety all summer, have the pressure release, and then wind it back and do it all over again, right? So, I was and just real quick, calling out of the South, obviously, 404 Georgia area code. Been a long time listener. Usually try to find, or usually trying to call in on the much more packed shows. So appreciate taking the call, getting to catch up.
Oh, thanks for making the call. Appreciate it. There's a few of you guys down there in Georgia, in the Atlanta area. I got a few Notre Dame friends that are down there representing. It's got to be rough being it's squarely in SEC land and in a state where Georgia is. It's got to be a little tough.
Growing up, 30 years old, so I don't know if I'm the curse. I sometimes have this, and there's like a psychological phenomenon for that. It's like, why is it that since I've been born, we just kind of suck? I don't get it. That 94 cutoff has never been the same. But
I'm telling you,
anyways,
man, I'm just a few weeks away. I'll be 40 in 2 or 3 weeks. I'll be turning 40. And I'm like, dude, I am the worst generation. I am like at the tip of born when we won stuff, but not old enough to remember it. And then nothing as far as I can remember. Like I am the misery Notre Dame cutoff age.
Dude, gotta love it. But I wanted to pull on the thread. I can't remember if it was a video behind the paywall or one you put on YouTube, but it was last week, and it was a little thing about Jeremiah Love, and it's like, hey man, everybody's not against you. It's just like, we'll be here when we're happy. We'll be here when we're
that was a Patreon video, and I was just saying we're always with you. We just want to not be miserable when we're with you.
Right, and there's nothing like an NIU type game to just have you experience an existential like Notre Dame crisis of like, why am I even a fan of this team? And like if it was really that easy, sure. I live in Atlanta, dude. Like I could go just as easily be a happy Alabama or Georgia fan. But no matter how hard I try, I can never do it. You know, for so many reasons. But I was listening to not to give too much of it away, because I do think everybody gets behind the paywall for the especially the videos of Goldbeat. You guys have a great back and forth. So I listened to that one last night.
Thank you.
And you guys are talking about all of the Notre Dame things. Love that term, by the way. All of like the little traditions and stuff. And I think Gould had a point to the effect of, hey, there's like 20 different things. If we got rid of 5 of them, that gives the players that much more time of the week. That gives the fans that much better of an experience. That gives, it's like we almost get in our way to a degree. So I guess let me string a few of the thoughts together. So with the sleepy day games, right? It's like, oh, you hear Marcus Freeman talking about we have 12 guaranteed opportunities, and there's only 6 home games a year. So, and I've been to the day games that are bad, like the Vanderbilt one some years ago, and then I was at the USC game last year. We don't even go to the day games anymore because it's just you end up sitting beside a bunch of people that just don't even care. But from the player's point of view, was thinking about, oh yeah, they got game day math, they have the insane workload of their academics, and this, that, the other going on, and it just makes me wonder, like, there's probably like 5 different band-aids just to rip off. You could say one of them would be quarterback development, like stop with the transfers, just give a guy a few years to develop, be patient with a sophomore, whatever it is. But you got me spiraling through all these different thoughts on, like, what do the players have on their plate that holds them back from being able to perform their best as a football team, like each and every guaranteed opportunity? And I don't know, looking forward to future shows that you do where you guys talk about that and get goals, like the player perspective. Because, have you ever seen the graphics like in the Navy games where they talk about their schedules? It's like, oh, they go to bed at 12 and they wake up at 4.
Yeah.
I feel like we do that kind of stuff to ourselves, and it just puts us in very vulnerable.
Wait. Think about this, man. These Notre Dame players actually have to take school seriously. Think about what a disadvantage that is right off the bat, man. And like, I'm glad we do that. This is college. Our players have to actually like pay attention and try in school. That alone is a huge distraction of time out of your week that you don't have to just worry about football, right?
But that is one of those things, especially with, I feel like that holds water much better pre-NIL, but it's like, is academics really the most important thing? And I say this from the perspective of, like, yeah, I would have loved to have gone to Notre Dame, went to a state school in Atlanta because it was, exponentially cheaper, as you'd imagine, or in Georgia, whatever. And you know what? Wife and I do just fine for ourselves. I know Notre Dame grads that it's like, it doesn't necessarily equate to just, oh, you're going to be earning double 6 figures or a millionaire. Like, do you have a better odds? Yes, but it's not the education, it's the network. And the network's not going anywhere. So to me, it's like, why pile drive these guys with just these insane course loads that they're probably and realistically not going to do something with that after school? Like that whole 4 for 40 thing, that's them tapping into the Notre Dame alumni network. You don't learn anything materially that much different. Like, cool, yes, you do maybe for, like, sure, a Notre Dame business school is better than Kennesaw State where I went. But does it really change your life that much? No. You still come out of school with the same kind of entry-level sales jobs or whatever it is. And I don't know, man. That's just something that really gets under my skin. Like, I've always loved the whole, the graduation, they'll have, like, a criminal fund team and stuff like that. Like, maybe your
and you know what I always say?
I
always say it is harder to win it all at Notre Dame. It just is. It's a harder place to win at as a coach and a player. There are more obligations of you as a coach and a player, and there's more little things you got to do and everything you got to worry about. It is a bigger job at Notre Dame. It's more involved. There are more complications and obligations for both players and coaches at Notre Dame. Choose hard. Freeman's right when he says that. A lot of things got to go more right for Notre Dame to get over the hump than at a lot of other places. That is true, and that is a part of the challenge everybody should know when you join in Notre Dame as a coach or a player.
Yeah. And I do. I dialed in a little late, so I missed the first hour or so. But I think I caught the gist of maybe like the 5-year versus the 3-year. That was something I was going to call in a few months ago and say is like the amount of insane, like honestly, arbitrary pressure and like all the superstition of, oh, it's year 3. And it's like, can we not freak out about that and just give the man 5 years? And yes, I don't want to see mediocrity and losses to NIU along the way. Still not acceptable, but I wonder if Freeman's felt that too. And it's like the same as putting all this pressure on these quarterbacks that come in. It's like, well, you have all these expectations and no time to prove it, and you better get it right the first time or you're out of here. And it's like, do we ever really are we really giving Freeman the sample size we need to make a long-term decision, especially given all of the things he has to swim upstream against, recruiting and the academics and all the standards, which are great, but it's like you got to give somebody more than 3 years to
And you know what?
navigate the waste.
What does Pete Bavacqua think of that dynamic? That's really the big question here, because Pete Bavacqua did not hire Freeman. You know, Jack hired Freeman on the way out. So Bavacqua's not intimately tied to Freeman in the way Jack is, because he didn't make the hire. I would just love to know Pete Bavacqua's angle on this. And what does he see this as? And what is his patience level? And how does he gauge where this is at and where it's trending to? I think that's what matters the most. And none of us really have that answer. I don't know who could.
Yeah, it's well, I'll say this. I'm just glad to have somebody that doesn't feel like establishment Notre Dame, for lack of a better word, with what was the whole misguided passion thing that was last year, right? Like having somebody truly love the team.
I don't think Jack was not a big fan of my content. Jack was not a big fan of the Always Irish show. I could assure you of that.
Hey, you're a voice of the people, man.
He called me out. Too many people trying to be reporters talking from their basement like they know what's going on. I took that as a personal shot, and I'm proud of it.
Hey, one other quick question, and I want to let you get to other calls, and I think the show is probably close to wrapping up. But from an NIL perspective, love the whole we're actually using it in the portal, whether it works for Riley Leonard or not. At least we gave it a shot, right? Same with Hartman. At what point, if ever, do you think they'll rip the Band-Aid off of if we really want to get those 5-star athletes that are going to be a make or break difference in some of these like truly marquee games, not the A&M games, like the games against your Georgias and Ohio State? Like, are they ever going to use that to acquire freshmen and get crafty with it, or do you think that's just always going to be a?
No, I think they're already trying to do that. And what I've heard that they've been willing to offer to Deuce, they're already getting in that game, but it can't be everybody or anybody. It's got to be the right person. They are already guaranteeing Deuce a whole bunch of stuff. And then there's other things he could get more. Some of that is already being tweaked, but it isn't going to be for everybody. It's got to be kind of situational. But a guy as important as Freeman thinks Deuce is to the class and the relationship they built for so many resources they've already put into it, that is one where there's some stuff coming to him up front. The wide receiver that picked LSU over Notre Dame, there was some guaranteed money. We were going to match whatever LSU was going to do there to Meadows. So I think they're slowly coming around to that, but it isn't going to be the Wild West. It's going to be specific players they deem are that important.
That's totally fair. And I'm sure that's the way it works for the big programs too. And like, hey, keep that kind of thing going. And I feel like for actually, I got to mention this. I'm sorry, I know I think that was the last question, but dude, the stadium atmosphere stuff, like, it's not just the fan noise. There's something about this. All right, this is really stupid to have it irk me as much as it does. But when you look into the crowd and it's like 1,000 different colors, I don't know why, but that just like, why can't we all just wear blue? Why is that so hard? I mean, just get a $20 Blue Notre Dame t-shirt. Like,
either blue or green. Can we do green, like a little more color? I don't like those brown. Dude, the shirt is really ugly. And when you put thousands of people together all wearing that ugly shirt, it looks like a big section of ugly. It's not really brown, but it ain't really gold. It's like nothing. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
No, dude. I got a little a little bit of a tan. Does not look good on me, and I know it doesn't look good on the pasty white, Midwestern.
It doesn't look good on TV. That's the other thing. When they zoom in on TV into the student section, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look appealing to me. Wear a green or something. I just think that color as a base color is, ugh. It's just ugly. I don't know.
Yeah. And there's I'm not at all a soccer guy, but I've been to a few Atlanta United games, which have better atmospheres than the Mercedes-Benz. They're more fun than the Falcons games.
Yeah.
And they have, like, I wish Notre Dame would take some pages out of that book, because they keep the crowd engaged the entire time. And it's soccer. It's mind-numbingly boring to me. But, like, you have this entire stadium just going nuts. It's louder than a Falcons stadium with, like, half the people. So I just don't get how. I think Goolsby made a reference that it sounds like it's a 90s like roller rink or something on a Friday night in the stadium. Just that kind of stuff too. Like the Notre Daminess, man. So I appreciate letting me vent about all that.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem at all. And then again, they can do whatever they want, play whatever music, and have whatever shirt you're going to want, as long as you never lose at home. You can do whatever you want. So if you're going to lose at home, then I'm going to complain about it, I guess, is the deal we'll make. Hey, man, I really appreciate the call. Thanks for making it. It's been a while since you've touched base. I'm glad you called back, get in the mix.
Hey, I at least try to jump in the chat if nothing else, and it was a good time on the road for work. That's the time to kill in the car, so good to catch up.
Oh, beautiful! I love it. And you know what, man? Keep representing Notre Dame down there in Georgia. There are some of us down there, and keep representing us strong. We need that representation all over, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey, whether I like it or not, I'll keep doing it. Don't have any other choice.
Yep, it's just who we are. It ain't a choice. I've been saying that forever about Notre Dame fandom. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the show. I got a lot of errands to run. There's some callers. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody. It's just not going to happen today. I got errands to run. It's a weird week. So I got a bunch of beer to pick up. And I got a lot of things to prepare for this weekend and pick up some drinks for the crowd and get ready for the tailgate. Anybody who has questions about the tailgate, I will post the map and circle it and everything. Email me if you have specific questions or you want to bring something or you want to try and meet up Friday or whatever it is. Send me an email, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com, and I will respond and get you all set up on that. But I will put out the thing with the map and circle it all and everything like that, so everybody can figure out where we're going to be. Yeah, get the Pepto on ice. We got to do that. Mikey, I did see that. I'll hit you back on that today. I have so we're going to do that. And so we'll see everybody. I'm getting into town Friday, and we're going to go from there. So no live show on Friday. I'll have a video for you tomorrow. I'll have a video for you Friday. You're going to have a video. You're going to have a video Friday. So it's not like you're going to have no content just because I'm not live. Okay. Email me if you have questions about the tailgate. Otherwise, we'll see you guys there. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for the calls. Appreciate it.